Okay, everybody be quiet. Okay, you listening? Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore. All right, so I have not done this before. Like, I have not went live and actually went over a prospect. So if there's anything that the chat wants to add in, you can. I know a lot of us don't necessarily watch college or keep up with any of the draft picks. So I'm trying to catch up and trying to figure out who's the right guy, who's the good guys, who should you think about grabbing. Now, let me go ahead and jump into this right now. Okay, so Cam Whitmore, I'm very confused when it comes to him. Like, very confused. Because Cam Whitmore, as it stands right now, like when I see most of the mock drafts, they have him like 7 or 8, and I don't get that at all. Like, if it were me, I would have him maybe in the top 4, to be honest with you. He might even be in my top 3. Actually, he is in my top 3. I mean, I would go with Vic, Scoot, and then I would go with Cam Whitmore. And then after that, Amen Thompson. And I know some people probably disagree with that, but yeah, like I would go with something like that. And Amen only because of his upside. But he is getting a lot of disrespect when it comes to these lottery projections. I don't understand it at all. So let me just go ahead and break it down like this. Okay, obviously with me being a Spurs fan, I'm just going to throw this out there. He is like what Spurs fans think Keldon Johnson is. And I know that's like really mean to put it that way, but oh my God, someone said that in the chat. He's very similar to Keldon. Yeah, plays bully ball. Yeah, he's what people think Keldon Johnson is. He's like Keldon Johnson, but better. Like, he's more athletic. I think he's faster. I think he has more control than Keldon Johnson. Don't get me wrong, he does have some problems when it comes to playmaking. He makes some pretty bad decisions at times, but I think that comes more so down to the fact that he's the only like real go-to guy for Villanova. But yeah, so let's look into the stats first, and then I'll give you some more of my thoughts on it. So statistic wise, let's see. Overall, 12.5 points per game, 5.3 rebounds. He's a really good rebounder, by the way. 6'7" forward, 0.7 assists, 47.8 field goal percentage. One thing that's really cool about him, and this is why I kind of draw that Keldon Johnson comparison as well.
As an athlete and as a coach, I work out every single day.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But one thing that stands out is the fact that his catch and shoot, I think it's like 40%, so it's not bad whatsoever. He also has a really nice step back from 3, but overall statistically, he's pretty solid. You can see here every now and then he'll have a game where he can get a block or 2, but overall defense is not necessarily his strong suit. He can pry the ball loose. He can get steals in the lanes and stuff like that. But as far as on-ball defense and specifically off-ball defense, he's kind of all over the place, to be honest with you. Can't really fight around screens that well. Needs to grow his basketball IQ defensively. I guess I'm not even talking about the stats anymore. But overall, like he is a really solid player. And one thing that makes him so dangerous is like how you guys brought up how he has that bully ball mentality. Well, it makes his 3-point shooting that much deadlier. Because a lot of guys, they're just expecting him to drive, but he can hit you with that 3. Now, as far as any weaknesses, or another weakness that I notice is that his mid-range game is not that great. Also, when it comes to like getting in the lanes and finishing, he can finish his butt off, but he doesn't have really much of a floater, doesn't have a runner. It's a little ugly in that regard. But like I said, he's a really tough player. He's a pretty quick player, really athletic. I don't understand why he's not higher, to be honest with you. I mean, I've seen lists that had Jarris Walker over him, and I don't get that at all. But anyways, let's see here. So I haven't seen this at all. So these are pros and cons. Let's see what they have to say. Solid scorer off the dribble, yes. Decent shooter, yes. Excels at scoring on off-ball motion plays, yes. Adequate playmaker. I don't think he's that good of a playmaker. And I don't even know if I would put adequate here, but usually with this site, when they say adequate, that means it's not that great. So I don't know. I wouldn't say adequate. Good rebounder for his size. Yes, definitely. Great rebounder for his size. I would say 6'7". Yeah, it's a good rebounder. Decent defender that can get steals and blocks. I think that's fine description there. Very good athlete. Yes. Streaky shooter. I don't know if you can consider him a very streaky shooter, would you? I don't know if I would call him a streaky shooter. I mean, he has a few bad games in here, but pretty consistent. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know if I agree with that. If he's a streaky shooter, just about anybody's a streaky shooter, but that's just me. Needs to improve his free throw shooting. Oh, that's something I didn't notice. Let's see. Free throw shooting. What? 70%? I guess. Yeah, sure. Especially with his ability to get to the rim. Yeah, you want to shoot better than 70%. May not be a natural playmaker. Well, yeah, but you said adequate play. I wouldn't even say he's adequate. Can tend to over dribble, which can lead to turnovers. See, that's another thing. I was wondering about that because I don't know. It seems like he's kind of the only option, and maybe if he's in a system that's not necessarily that, he could be a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure. I will say this as well, because I did want to look at his turnover ratio or his turnovers per game. It's not that terrible, especially with how often the ball is in his hands. But I will say this, that another reason why I would put him like in my top 3, which I don't really understand why a lot of people don't have him in top 3, top 4, is because I look at like the Thompson twins, and while Amen Thompson is really good, don't get me wrong, like super high upside and everything, he's also playing in an elite league, which that's going to be a gamble in and of itself, because those guys are 16 to 19, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, you don't have that fear here with Cam Whitmore. So I don't know. Just bringing that up. Let's see. Can tend to over dribble. Can be undisciplined defensively. Yes, I agree with that. Cam Whitmore is a very athletic skills swingman that has a variety of skills that could prove to be useful in the league. He excels at attacking the hoop to score and gets assists, and he also is a good rebounder and defender. He will need to be more consistent performer in games, but he is solid all-around player that could end up being a lottery. He will be a lottery pick. And this is back in March. Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up here? Let me see if I see anything else in the chat. What's Cam Main's position? If I'm not mistaken, he can he's pretty versatile. So I saw quite a few articles saying that he could run power forward if he's in the league. But I think he's going to be closer to what Keldon Johnson is. Naturally small forward, but you can move him to power forward. I don't think you can mess around and try to move him to center, but you can do small ball lineups with him. Yeah, that's the main thing. I'm just going through the chat, and it seems like most of it's just saying, yeah, he's very similar to Keldon. Yeah, that's what I saw. I think he's Keldon, but much better. So those are my thoughts on him. I absolutely love him. So.